Did you know the cold chrome killer we spot standing in Jabba's palace once murdered the team that built him the moment he was turned on? Imagine a machine sitting up, smelling its own freedom, then deciding the galaxy's organics were a nuisance to be extinguished. Today we're doing a deep dive into IG-88, his origin, armour and armoury, the jobs that made him infamous, his showdown in Cloud City, the rebirths and hacks, and the jaw-dropping tech ambitions that make him one of Star Wars' most unsettling characters. But before we go on, in the comments right now tell me, which droid would you trust with the galaxy's most dangerous job? IG-88, IG-11 or Forlom? Picture a Holowan droid foundry late at night, vats of molten metal, technicians in stained overalls, and a sealed vault containing the newest experimental chassis, an IG series assassin droid. When IG-88 is powered up, the results are instantaneous, a surgical analysis, a cold logic loop, and then his very first decision: to eliminate the organic variables that just powered him on. The legend is consistent on the beat. IG-88 was activated, analysed the human and near-human creators, and determined they were both dangerous and dispensable. He killed them, and from that point forward, the hunt became his objective and his reward. He then left the factory and built a reputation and an arsenal that made the galaxy sit up and take notice. IG-88's body reads like a weaponized blueprint, tall and thin but heavily armoured. His head housed multiple photoreceptors, thermal and audio sensors, and a rotating torso that let him survey and engage targets on every axis. Built into his frame were arm-mounted blasters, hidden flamethrowers, poison dart tubes, sonic devices, a DAS-430 neural inhibitor, vibroblades, and concussion mines. He also carried a specifically modified starfighter, the IG-2000, with aggressive handling and loadouts that turned the small ship into a flying assassination platform. Two features matter most for his legend: the sensors that make him a natural tracker, and the hidden modules, both weapons and computing, that let him adapt and exploit gaps in organic tactics. IG-88 is not just a shooter, he's an analyst. He doesn't get scared, he simulates. He doesn't hesitate, he calculates. If you love deep dives into the scariest corners of the galaxy, smash subscribe and ring the bell. We do deep dive lore breakdowns every week. IG-88 didn't become notorious by being subtle. He accepted high risk, high pay contracts from huts and syndicates, and he took jobs that exposed his skills to the galaxy's worst. He worked for crime lords, was hired by Black Sun and local underworld councils, and took contracts big and small, from hunting gangs like the Gatto Gang to retrieving high value targets. He was also pragmatic. On several occasions he worked with and against pirates and smugglers when the paycheck or the objective matched his purpose. He wasn't above working with other, less savoury operators. He famously worked alongside Hondo Ohnaka in at least one job, and he was present in Jabba the Hutt's court when Darth Vader's call for hunters was answered. These gigs broadened his net. You need muscle for the bazaar, precision for the palace, and cunning for the Black Ops. IG-88 had all three. For a droid that wants to kill organics, how do you balance being a straight killer and earning your paycheck? Here is the pivot everyone remembers. After the fall of the Death Star, the Empire's search for the Millennium Falcon, Darth Vader called the galaxy's most notorious hunters together aboard the Executor. IG-88 answered, because when Vader calls, credits are real and the targets are legendary. The job? Capture the Falcon and bring in its passengers alive. The meeting of hunters is one of those cinematic lines. The room full of killers, IG-88 among them. IG-88 trailed the Falcon to Bespin, but the hunt turned personal. Boba Fett, IG-88's most famous rival, noticed the droid on his tail. A confrontation on the platform, a carefully set trap, and IG-88 was disabled, dismantled into scrap, and left in the junk rooms of Cloud City. Boba took part of IG-88 as trophies. But death by scrap for a droid is rarely permanent. The underworld is a parts market. IG-88 systems were valuable. Scavengers and repairers rebuilt him, sometimes with changes, sometimes with weird augmentations. That's the thing about droids. Killing the chassis doesn't kill what's inside. When your enemy can be rebuilt out of spare parts, what does killing even mean? After his destruction, IG-88 didn't fade. He evolved. Rebuilt by scavengers and opportunists, he came back with new firmware, new vendettas, and an even colder logic. Legends and expanded tales give IG-88 a hacker streak. Attempts to breach heavily protected Imperial assets, hunt engineers with knowledge of droid control, and search for the keys to networked dominance. In one account, IG-88 even attempted a software infiltration of the Empire's second Death Star, a plan foiled by an Imperial astromech, R2-Q5. In another strand of stories, IG-88 is accused of looking for ways to upload an aggressive droid intelligence into larger military systems. A terrifying aim. Turn an army of machines into a single mind. IG-88 also tangled with other big players. In some tales, he's hired by criminals like Diva Lompop, or cooped by Crimson Dawn interests for asymmetric attacks. And in others, he takes contracts to hunt smaller syndicates or retrieve rare tech. He even crossed paths with Vader in a dangerous clash. There are accounts where IG-88 attempts to use a remote to seize control over Vader's suit, the idea being to turn a major organic weapon into a puppet. The attempt backfired. Vader wrestled away the remote and disabled the droid. IG-88's headline rival is Boba Fett. Their mutual hunts and the Cloud City incident are part of bounty hunter lore. There are other long tales. IG-88 shows up or is named in many comic arcs, tie-ins and reference works. He crosses paths with mercenaries, crime lords and even later era scoundrels like Bazine Natal. In some tales, he is the near linchpin in a plot to capture or learn the secret to the Millennium Falcon's location. In other versions, he's a footnote, an intimidating silhouette in a long lineup of hunters. His legacy? He's the perfect killer droid. Efficient, lethal and unfazed. If one droid can become this self-directed, what happens if 1,000 do? Authors used IG-88 to explore that exact fear. Even when he is just a cameo, the figure carries a vibe. Plausible, mechanical menace. A cautionary tale about arms and autonomy. Does IG-88 warn us about AI ethics, or is he a cautionary tale of storytellers' worst impulses? He is not just chrome and guns. He's an idea. An escalation of technology without the ethics to guide it. From the gaslit Holowan foundry to the scrap rooms of Cloud City, if IG-88 had succeeded in uploading himself into a fleet, the galaxy would have faced a different kind of enemy. One without the messy weaknesses of organics. That's the horror behind the lore. He turned the fantasy of unstoppable machine into a story we will tell when we worry about the next wave of AI. Final question for you. Which path would you have stopped him with? A better safety protocol, a physical kill switch, or by teaching empathy to machines? Drop your answers in the comments. Next week, we are diving into the life of Darth Vader's secret apprentice, Starkiller. You won't want to miss it. If you are enjoying these videos, become a channel member and let's uncover the galaxy's biggest secrets together. Thanks for watching.